One, two, three. That is what you Hollywood stand for. Hello, folks. I'm Tommy NC2010. Welcome back. Another episode of Tommy Talks. Another epic episode of Tommy Talks. And tonight we have on a epic guest. We have Trina Tyrannosaurus Rex. She has an epic YouTube channel, and also slithering up to the curve with me, Mr. Devious Dave Rose, helping me out tonight, being an awesome sport about helping me out tonight. Trina, how are you doing tonight?
Hello, I'm Triana here, and I'm great.
Now, I would actually like to start off by saying that although I didn't know about you until tonight, the few videos that I was able to watch, and you've got quite a few subscribers as it is, and it looks like you're getting more and more viewers. Tommy has his finger on the pulse of social media, and the videos that I've watched were actually quite entertaining, and it's a varied amount of videos that you have available, and you were speaking to us prior to starting the show and told us about all these various products that you have in line for your viewers, and I was quite amazed because it really is a nice variety, and that's always the greatest thing about producers on YouTubers, as Tommy calls them, that you have a great array of different options for your viewers to watch.
Yes, thank you. When I started this channel, I never wanted to limit myself to just one thing. Some people do that, and that's fine, and that's wonderful if that's what they want to do. But I always wanted to express myself, and I'm a very complicated individual, and as such, I have many interests. And so, as a result, I've produced music videos, skits, vlogs, original series that are very weird, and everything that you can imagine. And in my past, I've directed short films, so yeah, I like variety. And so I think that's a good way, actually, to describe what my content in my channel comprises of.
Now, Trina, the ballpark this interview. Who inspired you to start your channel and to launch yourself into the hemisphere of Hollywood and YouTube entertainment? What inspired you?
Well, I started YouTube in 2013, and I had been thinking to start my channel for months when I was finishing college in 2012. And what really, or actually I should say who, right? Who really inspired me to begin was Shane Dawson. He really inspired me just because I felt like when I had discovered him, I thought he was hilarious and intelligent, and it kind of inspired me to say, especially now when at the time I had inherited when my grandfather passed a computer capable of editing videos and a camera, basically everything that I would need that I didn't have before to start YouTube. And so in 2013, I told myself I was going to start it, and I was very nervous about it. And I had directed several films before that, but I was I was always using the school's equipment, so it was kind of a godsend in a sense that I was able to start doing these videos.
What is the most video that you are proud of that has the most views on it, would you say?
Interestingly enough, the videos that have the most views aren't necessarily the ones I'm most proud of. The videos that have the most views are my international dating videos, and I'm proud of those on that respect. However, creatively, I'm much more proud of. I have an animation. It's called Rapunzel: A Dark Retelling, where I have rewritten the original Rapunzel fairy tale, and I speak it in German, and I also did a bunch of animations with over 100 original drawings to retell the story. That's one of my most
Wow.
I'm very proud of that video. It took a lot of time, a lot of practically sleepless nights to get it in time for Halloween that year. That it was in the year of 2014. I'm also really proud of my original sci-fi series, which is completely insane. Um, and I'm also really proud of my music videos, which I'm going to be doing more of in the future.
Now, where could someone find more of your work?
Well, before I started YouTube, when I was in film school, I started a company called Severus Jade Productions, as so named as sort of um, to show my interests. I have a huge Harry Potter interest, especially a Slytherin interest. But I also, at the time, loved green, and I still do, but I'm much more into black. But I have my early films on there. However, I'm more I'm more proud of them because they were my beginning films, and for example, I have one film called The Killer Rabbit. It's a comedy horror about an animal who has died and becomes resurrected into something. Well, not resurrected. It just is reborn into something evil that kills everyone. And it's quite 80s in the music. My sister composed it at the time, and I am proud of that. I don't really I don't really, what's the word, broadcast that. However, I kind of focus more on Tyrannosaurus but there is a channel that has those films, and it's my user channel versus like my professional channel, like the channel that I do my personal viewing on. But I believe
Trina,
it's Greenfire 315, but I wouldn't search for that. However, I should upload the old films. I actually have uploaded two of them on Tyrannosaurus Rex. One called Ghostly Persuasions, the other one The Killer Rabbit, um, and all of them are class assignments. Most of them from my film classes. One of them actually, or two of them actually for one. It was like a sociology class, another one for an English class. I did a trailer for Othello, and I made everyone in my group. I sort of assigned them their own parts, and it was perfect, and it was really fun.
now Trina, I've been having some conversations with you about some stuff. Um, what draws you into such creativity and such the way and I checked your channel out and I looked at all the amazing things and the detailed stuff that you had on your channel, and I was like, why is this girl, I wish this girl was, like, she's awesome, like 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 people like you should be like, you are at where you are at because you're working your way up. I'm working my way up too.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I wish you could be honestly the next Jenna Marbles. I think that you could be. I think you are. You are going to be the next Jenna Marbles, but a little bit a little bit different, because you are a very defining person. You are very out there. Um, and I want to say it wasn't me that contacted you. You actually contacted me, and I found that very much appreciative. That I didn't have to go knocking on your door.
Now,
I really.
can I ask as an outsider, sort of, because this is news to me. So, you contacted Tommy. So, what was that all about?
Um, I've been on YouTube for 2 years, 2.5 years now. God, is that right? Wow. And when I started YouTube, I think I was at a point of YouTube where things started to really change. And the changes that were being made, I think Google bought out YouTube. I think that was what started it. But when that happened, it became a lot more difficult for small-sized YouTubers to grow. When YouTube first started, there used to be a page where people would be, what's the word? They would be displayed for people to find them, and that hardly exists now. A lot of that has to do with monetization, sponsorships. They want to kind of feed into the people that are growing quicker, maybe due to viral videos, maybe the creators that have been there for years now, and kind of just grew gradually when the channel came to fruition for the very first time. So for a while, I would, just do what I thought was best, just worked on my content, uploaded every week, and I was really consistent. But but after a while, when more changes were being made to the way, like, the website was calibrated and all that, I realized that there was almost no way for, no matter how talented some of my peers may be, for us to get noticed. So I felt like, okay, it's time to do some collaborations with people of my same level, right? And so I was looking down my subscription list, and actually in the back of my mind remembered, like, maybe a year or so ago, that Tommy had tried to reach me, but I at the time didn't reach back because I had no way of doing such an interview, and that didn't happen at that time, but it's happening now. So I guess, in short, it's more of a, let's work together to reach our goals, I guess.
And that's how I say it. That's how I say it is, if you want to survive here on YouTube, you have to get together in a circle, hold hands, and collaborate. And if you don't live near each other, this is what you have. This is what you have for collaboration.
Right.
Now, just to say, I hate to spoil this, but I'm actually going to do a collaboration on Trina's YouTube channel, which I don't know what
Triana,
she
by
has
the way.
planned. Huh?
It's Triana, by the way.
Triana. I apologize. I'm sorry. I thought I had your name.
It's okay.
Triana. But
Trianasaurus Rex.
Trianasaurusrex. Sorry, I have bad times saying things sometimes.
It's okay.
But that sounds like an interesting
Well,
collaboration.
yeah, actually, that's not a bad thing to spoil. I actually was, trying to think of a way that you can be on my channel, because that's how good collaborations work. I do a video on yours, which is what we're doing right now, and then you come on my channel, but we haven't really figured out the details yet.
You know,
Well,
Triana,
look
I've
forward
never
to it.
had a YouTuber say to me, they do collab. They come on my show, they interview me there. They say something about me on their channel, but I've never had a YouTuber actually say to me, "Well, Tommy, come on my channel and let's do a collaboration." I've only had these interviews where the YouTuber comes on, and I'm not trying to be hateful against any other YouTubers that have been interviewed, but I've
Hmm.
never had a YouTuber say, "Hey, come collaborate with me." You know, and the thing about it is that I really do appreciate this about you, Oh shoot.
Brianna with the T.
Triana.
Brianna. Okay, sorry.
With
I
the
have
T, like Triana. It's
Brianna.
okay.
Okay.
It's a rare name. I get it all the time. I've heard people say Triana, which that was weird. That was a substitute in like 6th grade, but you know it has happened. And yeah, no, seriously, don't worry about it. If you want, if it would be simpler for you, I will allow you to call me Tree. But actually, eh,
Well, I'm in
whatever.
Canada, so
You can
we've
think of
got
something.
multiple ways of pronouncing our things. So
Canada?
Yes.
yeah,
By the way,
that's what.
Canada is
Oh.
not real.
That's an inside joke that seems to be going around these days on the internet. But yes, I am currently in Canada.
Awesome.
Now, Tree, where would now, in your opinion, what would you say that your channel promotes the most? What'd you say?
I would say that my channel right now promotes um, the what's the word? Celebrating both the dark and light sides of us. For many years now, I've kind of been drawn to the dark. Not like I'm, having sacrifices in my backyard or anything, but more like I think that those things should be celebrated. The dark, the weird, the twisted, the ugly, the
If
unpopular.
I can interject, you had mentioned on a video that I just recently saw today about your love of all different sorts of music, including classical and other sorts, but including metal, and
Yes.
it's something that sort of relates to what you're talking about.
Well, the funny thing about that is when I had discovered metal, I was 13 years old, and before then, my favorite music was the Backstreet Boys. And I had sort of, the way I see it, metal kind of found me. I was on my parents' computer at the time. It was 2003, and I saw this song called "Did My Time." It was on the like downloads list or something. I think it was an accidental download, but it was called "Did My Time" by Korn, and I'm like, Korn. I know that band, but I've never heard a song. And I already felt drawn to it. I felt it pulling me. I was already interested. And so I listened to the song and I felt a part of my soul that I didn't even know had been separated from me, it returning to me, and I was just like, I need more. So I think that whole year I just became totally enveloped in trying to find different bands, different music in this genre. And so what I did was, at the time, there was this program, and I don't know if you guys remember it. It's called Music Match. And for 1 hour, they would allow you to listen to music for free before YouTube for youngsters who may be pitching in right now or watching in. Um, and so I was able to get, what's the word? I'm forgetting the word right now, but to be introduced to bands such as Disturbed, Korn. I already knew Evanescence. Actually, I'm not sure if they were famous yet. They
Disturbed.
might
Now,
have
have
had
you
that one
listened to?
song. Or was that 2005? I don't remember.
Now you said
Um,
Disturbed. Now, have you listened to the song "So Many Men, Too Many Problems, Not Much Love to Go Around"?
which album is that from? Because I have all their music. Is that some lyrics? Is there another name to
Well,
that song?
uh, I hmm. It's
Perhaps is
based.
It
that
might
maybe
be
that
that
cover?
song.
Is that maybe the cover that they did of Genesis?
Phil Collins.
Yeah,
Phil
Oh,
Collins.
it's the
yeah.
Genesis cover. Yeah,
I
Uh,
recently listened to that song, and like the
Land of
song was,
Land of Confusion is the title of that song.
yeah,
yeah,
Land of Confusion, and I listened to that song, Tree, and that song really
I
got
love
to me
that
because,
song.
and I listened to that song, it really got to me because it really tells you about the troubles that we're having in our country today, and it's the music video is insane. Like it's like, why does the '80s always freak us out? Like we go back to the '80s and it's like, what the hell did I just watch from the '80s? You know?
Right.
Well, actually, I've got to say that if you really want to talk about that, the Phil Collins video of Land of Confusion was incredible. It had
Right.
puppets. It had political effigies. It was a political song, and
Yes, I love
disturbed.
that song. I had no idea it was a remake because I've looked it up before thinking that it sounded like it might have been not an original, and I couldn't find Genesis anywhere. But I love it.
Now,
I've run to it many times. And the part where it's like, there's not much left to go around, or whatever. And it's like, it's so cool.
It
Too
definitely
many
brought it
men,
out.
too many people, and too many problems. There's not something like that, but I love it.
It's yeah.
now,
Check out the video by Phil Collins of that song because it's a different interpretation. Obviously, it's the original, but the fact is that it is very satirical, but also to the point of what they're talking about, which is politics. And
Right.
what's so great about that is that Disturbed took that and they made it their own. They've got again, I don't know the character that they've created. That little the guy with the in the dark with the big smile and the eyes and again they've made a name for this character. It's like he appears in all their videos when it's animated, and
Hmm.
it was really cool to see how they interpreted that song and put that character in there, showing the
Interesting.
discontent of society.
yeah, and the one thing, Tree, is you know, y-
Yeesh. Tommy, I accidentally came in on your account, man. I'm sorry about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have
Whoa, Devious Dave, man. I've never seen your eyeballs before.
what do you mean never see my eyeballs?
now,
I'm used to seeing the sunglasses look.
He just wanted
now,
people to see his eyes. No, I don't
Well, they're very
know.
beautiful
Sam,
eyes.
do you have a question for Tree here? I've been talking to Tree, and Dave has also been interviewing her too, talking to her too. Do you have any questions for her?
Yeah, question number one. Who are you?
Hi, I'm Trin
He's a
here
very
at trianasaurusrex. I'm a YouTuber, I'm a director, I'm a creator, I'm a very passionate person, I'm an activist, and I do content. I make content all the time on YouTube. I'm on Instagram, Twitter.
What's your YouTube show like?
My YouTube channel is called Tyrannosaurus
Yeah.
and I named it that because you know, the Tyrannosaurus Rex is sort of a beast. It's not pretty, it's not delicate, and I've never felt like a girly girl before. I'm more girly now than ever, but in terms of like, oh, let's do my makeup and let's go to prom, I've never been that kind of person. And so I wanted a name to sort of embody that, and I felt like it just really worked with my name.
Cool, but
But
what do
my
you do on your
channel
channel?
has, yeah. So my channel is a mixture of skits, vlogs, music videos, an original sci-fi series, and I pretty much do a lot of different things. And
Awesome.
yeah,
So
and I have a
you're
lot
an
of fun.
eclectic YouTuber.
I'm very eclectic. I like to be creative. I like to use the green screen. I like making characters. I do animation. I like the dark side of things. And yeah.
That's spectacular.
Tree, let me
How long
just
have you
say,
had, Tom? When did you start the show?
when did I
9:30.
start the show?
Yeah.
Well, we ran into some technical difficulties, and
It's probably 9:45, 9:50.
Okay. All right. Just want to know how long you guys have been going here. But hey, Dave, I got a question for you, man. Since we don't really interact too much, but do you follow hockey? If so, who's your team?
My team for one point was the Toronto Maple Leafs, but no longer, and hasn't been that way since 1993. I would have to say that currently my team would either be Winnipeg Jets, who are the underdogs and need support, or the big guns in the entire league, which is the Montreal Canadiens, whose record basically shows that they are the best there is. And when you've got a religious, fanatical hockey culture in Montreal, you're guaranteed that these guys are always going to be at the top of their game.
Oh,
So,
yeah. And they're the most classic Canadian team to follow.
but I hate the Leafs. I got to make sure that I make everyone know that I live in Toronto, but I don't like the Toronto Maple Leafs. In fact, I would love for them to go bankrupt.
Oh, don't say that.
Proceed.
Well, here in Canada, we need every team we can get, man.
Now,
Welcome back to Nordique.
Tree.
And give me my Waterloo Warriors.
I'll tell you what, my team is the Canucks because they're local. They haven't won a cup, but I support them. I'm going to support them till the day I die just because they're my local team.
I'd rather support
Tree.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things also here on the show is I allow my guests to ask me any questions or impressions, and you're welcome to ask me anything. I'm an open book, and I do impressions also, and that's kind of like, it's kind of backwards, but it's kind of like what I do here on my show.
I see.
Tommy likes to break boundaries and crush stereotypes.
Well, once she answers that, I'd like to ask a question myself, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Impressions. The people. Okay. Here, you do Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith in The Matrix.
I don't think I watched a little bit of The Matrix, but I can do. Hello, Mr. Anderson.
You know, okay.
The smell, Mr. Anderson.
There you go. Or Gandalf. Did you Gandalf from Lord of the Rings?
Gandalf. I know a little. I can do Schmeagol.
You shall not pass.
Here's my
Speaking
Schmeagol.
of Gollum,
One of
I did a
my
video
favorite
with
lines
Gollum.
of that movie of The Hobbit was that is good. Was it that is good weed? Where he's smoking his pipe and he's smoking weed, and I mean Tolkien.
I like how in Lord of the
No wonder
Rings,
he's so magical.
I of course saw, like, one of the Lord of the Rings came out. I saw them, but I was so young I don't really remember much. So I went and rented them all from the local DVD shop here. Yes, we still have one. It's a private place, but anyway, I'm watching them, and this totally went over my head when I was younger and saw the movies. Merry and Pippin love the weed. Like, they were always smoking pipes, and then they find this one place and they say, "Oh, it's the best weed in the whole Shire." And they sit there and they're smoking this pipe and drinking ale while Gandalf comes up or
It's
something.
Shire weed. They don't specify what kind of weed.
Well, it's just, you can assume it's something they
Magically
smoke.
delicious.
That kind of reminds me of the Juggalo vlog.
If hobbits can put off the effect of the One Ring, to get it to Mordor, I think that they're probably fairly good at dealing with the strength of weeds. So like
give them some New York Diesel, give them some shatter. They'll be
Hobbits are like the biggest party animals ever.
Smeagol left tree. Smeagol.
Keep up with them.
Hey, Dave, what kind of beer are you drinking tonight?
Baggins.
Tonight I'm drinking 5.5 ice beer.
Is that James Ready 5.5?
No, it's
Guys,
not.
Trina's trying to Tree's trying to say something real quickly.
Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, one of my earlier videos I did why Gollum is my best friend. And I actually did the Gollum's voice, and what I had to do the voice was I had to lie upside down off of my bed with honey in my mouth, and it was very difficult. But I got it. It got that weird wet sound, and you should check it out. It's really
You mean
weird.
like this?
I also did Why I
Sandra.
Like to Party with Voldemort. Yeah.
Hey,
I tried
Tommy,
to
can
do
Michael come on the show?
I'd love to
Who?
hear that.
Michael Rizzo.
Gollum and
I'm just
Voldemort.
gonna keep it strictly to what we're doing right now, Sam. Okay? I'm not gonna
Alright, hey,
invite anybody
Dave.
else in. It's just going to be chill like this.
Yeah, no,
us
I
in here.
understand. I understand. We're chilling out. We're having a good time. But hey, Dave, I'm just gonna reciprocate since you didn't ask. I'm drinking a chili porter by OK Springs.
Okanagan Spring. I've heard of that brand. I've never heard of the Chili Spring. Interesting.
Porter.
I have not seen it in my beer store because it's a monopoly here in Ontario, where the government takes a big portion of that tax
Well,
money.
you know what? I'm not surprised. This is BC, born and bred, and here in BC we barely see any Ontario wines. So.
But that sounds good because does it have a chili flavor?
I only had one sip. Let me try it.
Well, it's called Chili Spring. I mean, give me a break. It's either chili.
It's called chili porter.
Now, Tree.
You know what? There's no taste. It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick. There's no heat. There's no flavor.
I've tried.
Guys.
Sorry, go ahead.
Tommy, you gotta let us finish too, man. You can't always
Well,
interrupt each other.
this show is about Trina, and
that's
it's
true.
about. And we're going off topic about something else. Sorry, I apologize. I'm just trying to keep a professional show
Tommy,
here.
you always do an open segment after the interview, though.
No, Tommy's got a good point. Triana is here as a special guest, and we're talking about what she does, and what's going on with her. So
It's true, but hey, the way Tommy, the way I understood it is when you ask the guest to ask you the question, that kind of signals the end of the interview, and then the segue into the open segment.
All right.
So I'm not sure. I'm sorry if I was getting off topic, dude, but
it's all right. I just, I don't know if Tree has to be anywhere because the fact is, she's a very popular YouTuber and she is a busy girl, a busy woman.
Thank you.
Busy woman. And if we end up going on another subject, she's gonna be sitting there like, I come on this talk show and all they're doing is talking about beer and there's nothing talking about me. And so I just don't want to give Tree a bad taste. Oh, I went on Tommy Talk's show and I just had a bad taste in my mouth.
Well, as a Canadian, I do apologize, which is our way. It is our way as Canadians, and because it was also discussing beer. Again, I apologize twice fold because we also enjoy our beer here in Canada. So, Triana, my apologies.
No problem.
Now, Tree, are you a beer drinker or a liquor drinker at all?
I don't drink. No, I don't drink.
Good for you. You're a liberal.
wait, is there is it a religious reason or is it just personal choice?
It's just
Sure, that's why.
okay. Here's the thing. Real talk. I think the couple of times, okay, I hate the taste of alcohol, first of all, and the only point of it for me personally is to get drunk, after which the couple of times I've felt horrible. So it just feels too toxic for me. I'm also really into health, and so it kind of just goes against me.
And the one thing is, you told me, you said that you are not a meat eater, but you are you're vegan, and that
But vegan would be totally anything that has no meat in it, correct?
Yes, no animal products, which includes eggs, dairy, honey, and also because it comes from bees, and then also such things that what's the word?
What about silk?
Gelatin and stuff like that too.
Well, yeah.
What about silk?
Here's the
And they
thing.
don't wear leather or anything too.
Now, this
silk?
is not condemning
No
vegans,
silk.
but when I hear vegans say, "Oh yeah, we eat fish," and I'm like, "That's an
That's
animal."
not a vegan.
That's a vegetarian maybe. Well, actually, not
It's
even.
not a vegetarian. It's a
No, it's
pescatarian.
Yeah, any flesh is negating any vegetarianism. But
Yes.
vegans, I know, is even more strict than vegetarianism, And yeah, what you're saying, like, I mean, even the whole honey thing was a surprise to me, because what you're saying is correct. I mean, it is a product of bees, but I never just realized that, vegans would choose not to eat that. So I can understand maybe sugarcane would be a method of you getting sugars, whether it be fruits and stuff. But yeah, honey is something that you would not be eating. So
Yeah,
again,
so
Bingo.
it's
that's
less of a health thing and more of an ethical thing. What happens when they harvest bees, a lot of the bees are killed unintentionally. Also, honey is the food for bees, and so when you're taking that away from them and then replacing it with a not as good artificial version, it's just simply not ethical. So that's why
In the majority of cases, right? Like there are ethical bee farmers and
but that's a good point that you
Well,
raised, though,
the
Triana.
problem
Maybe
is that when they're harvesting the honey, like I said, it's unintentional. A lot of the times it just happens. A lot of the wings are torn off, and they're just a lot of
yeah.
them are harmed in the process.
Triana, I think, makes a good point in the fact that, again, this is an industry, and you see this with all, look, I love my flesh, I love my bacon, I love my meat. I'm not going to deny that. I love my free range meat because you can taste the difference. But the treatment that you find with sort of like processed foods, where it's just a factory production in the farm, is a disgusting situation, not only for the welfare of the animals, but also from the meat that you're eating, because again, it transfers that shock that these animals get when they're in a cage, does transfer down to the meat that you're eating, and it eventually is a bad input that you're putting into your body. So I
Yes.
do see totally where you're coming from. And I do see that there's a need for proper balance as well as for proper protection against animals that are literally being raised in cages just for consumption, and
now
that's wrong.
Yes.
let's not ignore the other side of the sword. You've got the one side, mass-produced meats. You go to Walmart, you find some ground beef or a pork chop. It's probably going to be raised in a factory or like a
Yes.
large slaughterhouse, whatever.
Yes. 98%,
And
over
that's
98%.
usually it's cheap, and the quality of the meat is pretty bad compared to what you could find at a local butcher shop. Where I live here on Vancouver Island, we have the benefit of many small and large farms that they produce their meat. Well, they raise their livestock like they should. Big farm, uh, good food, ethical practices, and the meat becomes such a nice product at the end of it all. Of course, you're paying for you maybe even paying up to double what you'd pay at like a Walmart or Costco or whatever, but it's worth it. You
It
can
is.
feel good about eating it's more filling, it's more flavorful. You don't need to eat as much of it. Um, but here, what I was going to say earlier when you talked about honey, and I asked you if silk was a no go, and you said yeah. I thought, oh dear, that wouldn't work for me because I really like merino wool for its moisture wicking properties.
Everything that you can find in animal products, food to materials, can you can easily get on either on a vegan lifestyle through diet and other man-made materials.
Now, what inspired you to move to the vegan lifestyle? Were you always a vegan, or did you come across the lifestyle of being a vegan? How did this happen?
So I'm so glad that you asked this because it's one of my huge passions in life. No, I was not. I was not vegan. I wasn't even vegetarian most of my life. What happened was I reached a point in my life, and it's interesting because it's a selfish reason why I became a vegan, and it's not selfish anymore. But I reached a point where I felt like I felt like I was being healthy. I was running every day. I was doing what I thought was healthy, what I was taught was healthy, which included calorie restriction, which included eating, animal products. And I thought I was doing the best I could, but there was some part of me that still felt like it should not be this hard to do this. The animals in the wild are healthy by eating the food that they just do it. They just eat the food they're supposed to. And so I was searching for an answer, and I came across this YouTuber named Freely the Banana Girl. She's Australian. She's vegan. And I saw a video or something where she eats 30 bananas, and I'm like, 30 bananas? I was someone who restricted to you always hear that all the time, 1,200 calories or 1,500 calories, whatever. I was eating 1,200, sometimes 800 calories a day, thinking that's what you need to do to be healthy. And then when I was in high school, I was overweight, so there's that too, that fear of gaining weight or gaining fat, right? Who cares about getting muscle that's strong? But so I saw that, and I was just like, from what I understand, this can't be possible if she eats this way. She is so fit and so amazing, and she's eating like that. And it's like, it can't be true, but it has to be. And so I started just watching and educating myself and learning that the way our bodies are built, it's not supposed to thrive with meat. We have a long digestive system, which means the meat is essentially rotting in our stomachs. We can do this with our chin.
Well, it's digesting.
Which means that we are omnivore. Essentially, physiologically speaking, we are omnivores.
That's right. That's correct. We are omnivores.
I'm sorry. I mean herbivores. We are physiologically herbivores. There is nothing about the way we are built that suggests that we are eating meat of any kind. Maybe 0.01% or whatever, like gorillas do. 99.9% of gorillas' diet is vegan. Sometimes they'll have ants or whatever. But just seeing that, just everything about us, what else? The way our pregnancies are. There's no way that a mother would not be able to support her child during her pregnancy. And so she would have to do so by gathering. She couldn't hunt. Predators have a forward stance, and they have a quick pregnancy and stuff like that. And so there's many, many factors that kind of it made me realize this is the answer my whole life I've been looking for. And then it's also a huge, huge environmental, all that it contributes to animal agriculture is the leading cause of deforestation. It's the leading cause of global warming. It's the reason why people have cancer, heart disease, diabetes. All of that can easily not be a problem at all. They might have never been even a word for them if people just had a vegan diet. Now, I understand that people had to, in certain times, had to live on meat and stuff, but there's no reason to do it now, and it's completely cheaper, better for the environment. Also, the land that is used to grow food for the animals stops, which a lot of the time is in third world countries, stops those countries from being able to feed their own people. So in adapting a vegan lifestyle, those world hunger would not be an issue as well. So it's actually no, it's not sort of. It is basically the solution to many, many different things. So, and I'm doing it for my health, humanity, the environment, and of course the animals, which have no voice and are being tortured, raped, and there's just many things that go wrong. Like, for example, cows have to be artificially inseminated. They're not just dairy cows. That's not like a dairy cows aren't like a species. They don't magically create milk. They're impregnated to do so, and
Well, cows
they
naturally create milk. That's how they feed their babies, and humans just started taking a squeeze on the teat as well.
well, that's the thing. When the babies are born, the babies are taken away, and they're either killed for the veal industry, or they put them to the slaughterhouses. And actually, I learned this most recently. 95% of all the meat that is raised for food comes from dairy farms first, because after a few years, they just send them off to the slaughterhouse. So it's
Now,
a
these
quite
are all
cool
issues that
industry.
come with any kind of mass-produced industry or product. Like, at the end of the day, what you're talking about is mass production of meat or mass production of milk.
Right.
And with the mass production of anything, cotton, synthetic fibers, the mass production of veggies, even there, you could put pin all kinds of negative things onto that as well.
Yes. It's the worst in the animal industry, though, because so many are slaughtered and stuff like that. And it's actually, what's interesting is some people even refer to it as the most ignored Holocaust, which may seem extreme to say to some people. But think of it this way. The man who helped, and this is extreme, or this might sound extreme, but it's truth. The man who helped Hitler design the concentration camps
What was his name?
was someone who did animal agriculture.
Do you know
They
his
applied
name?
those same things to the Jew concentration camps, which is crazy.
Do you know what his name was?
Ah, there was a recent interview with Gary Yourofsky, and he knows the name. However, I will relay to that. I'll look it up right now.
Now,
So I'm just having a look at something here, and someone said they were wondering what you did with the honey that you used for the Smeagol thing, because you mentioned that, and then you mentioned that you
That was before
don't
I
use
went
honey.
vegan. I've only
Oh.
been vegan for the last year and a half. I had honey before then.
How has the vegan lifestyle affected you? In what ways?
Oh my gosh. It's completely embittered my life. It's cured my relationship with food. It's made me generally happier person. My hair used to shed all the time when I would be in the shower. My hair barely sheds out now. My skin has cleared. I feel like my skin's glowing. I have so much energy. I have such a deeper connection to the earth, to other people. I feel like my heart has opened where it was closed, and I just felt like for many years I looked away, and I didn't want to think about the horrors. No one wants to think about it because humans are inherently compassionate, and so like no one wants to think that. They want to turn their eye, and they like the taste and all that, and so they don't. And I understand it. It used to be my lifestyle, but it's completely changed my life, and as healthy as I thought I was before, I feel 10 times healthier now. And it's so fun. It's so much more fun. I love it. I don't miss any animal products. I'm proud to be living the lifestyle I am.
Now, Tree, one of the many people that you also said that you said you liked was Onision, and he is also, in fact, a vegan too. Am I right?
I think he is, except he doesn't have honey. Honey's kind of controversial because some people say, well, yes, there's harm in them. However, the state of bees right now being kind of they're endangered, so in farming them they're helping the um, the populations. So I actually have to look more into that because it does seem like I'm not sure, but as of now I'm refraining from it because it just doesn't sit right with me. What I think should be done is maybe we should help the bees, we should farm them and such like that, but we shouldn't take from them. Like I think the farms are okay, but we shouldn't harvest from them. I think that would be good because then you're helping the population, but you're not hurting them.
Uh, Trina, did you the question I asked, or uh, no, okay, sorry, never
What?
mind.
Tommy, get your head together, man.
Okay,
What do
well,
I
my head is together.
best type friends? What? Have I been on the Mars planet?
No, I was asking. I understand that a while back. I know you when we talked, you said one of the people that you also liked was Onision, and that
Oh
the
yes.
fact that he, huh?
Thank you for bringing me down. Mhm. I love Onision. He is hilarious. He is intelligent. He is my. I was about to say sexy. Well, he reminds me of my boyfriend a little bit. But like very like he just gets the truth out, and he's not afraid to seem offensive because he's right, and I love that. That's brave.
Yes. Now,
Very talented and funny.
I want
Very.
to say, Tree, thank you so much for coming on tonight. We really do
Of
appreciate you
course.
coming on onto the show, and you can find
Before you
Tree's
go, this
channel.
is this is this is rare, Tommy. We got a vegan. We need to ask the questions that need to be asked. Before you go, there was a Oxford University did a study, and it was 35,000 people aged 20 to 89. So it's a big catch group, and they followed them for 5 years and discovered that the vegans were 30% more likely to break a bone than the vegetarians or the omnivorous people in the
Mm.
peer group. And then
Yeah.
Sydney's Garvan Institute for Medical Research found that vegetarians had bones 5% less dense than meat eaters.
Mm. I can answer you that for you right now. A lot of vegetarians and vegans go into the lifestyle applying the same eating habits as they did on a meat eating lifestyle. We are taught to not consume that much food, which goes against actually what our bodies need. Most people think, oh, 2,000 calorie diet. You see that on all the time on the back of nutrition labels, right? That's wrong. 2,000 for someone who's my size, I'm small. I'm 5'1" and a half. I'm 24 years old, going on 25. For someone my size, the minimum requirement would be 2,000 calories. I often have 3,000 calories a day. Men would have 35 to 4,000 calories. People aren't used to these numbers because they're taught essentially starvation. And so a lot of the times they're not having the normal amount of things because of that fear, that association of eating too much. And it's actually this whole time we're not eating enough. The problem is
Yeah.
that people have been taught the not eating enough or thing is because people get fat and they're like, oh, and not that fat is a bad thing in terms of like body acceptance and everything. I'm talking about being unhealthy. If you're unhealthy and you happen to also be at a certain weight, or if you're not fat but you have certain health issues or whatever, you minimize that by restricting everything. If you have an omnivore diet and you think it's just the food in general, when really it's what you're eating, what source of foods you're eating, it's
But
the animal
but hang on,
products.
that's only I'd say that diet is 25% of living healthy and losing weight and being where you
No.
want to be. 75% of that is exercise
Mm-mm.
and being
No.
active. If you just sit around all the time and you eat like a bird, you're not going to be healthy, right? Like I personally, I'm not the slimmest guy. I'll actually stand up and show you. I drink quite a bit of beer, so I got a belly. But I used to be dangerously underweight. And then what happened was I started to drink beer. I put on weight, but I move around so much and I eat a lot that I don't balloon. Right? I have a pretty consistent weight, and I feel healthy. I can drink beer, I can eat hamburgers and hot dogs and fried foods, and I
Now,
feel fine.
Sam,
Okay, I can tell you from personal experience that here's the thing. I used to run every day. I used to run 4 miles a day, and I used to consume 800 to 1,200 calories. Okay, and I had difficulty losing weight, being healthy, stuff like that. Now I have, on average, 2,300 to 2,500 calories a day, and I probably exercise half as much, and my body has trimmed. A lot of times, exercise does not equate. It does not equal health. In fact, at least for women, about 75 to 80% of being healthy is diet. And to answer, you mentioned osteoporosis.
No, atherosclerosis.
Well, okay, you mentioned bone density. That has
Yeah.
to do with calcium. When you're having enough calories on a vegan diet, you don't have to worry about any of the nutrients. I know because I type in my stuff on Chronometer all the time, and I have all of my requirements. Also, you have to see on which studies are sponsored by which corporations. Sometimes, and many times, they're sponsored by the dairy industry. And the dairy industry wants you to believe that you will get all the calcium you need from milk and stuff, and not from other things. That is not the case. On one part, the calcium that is the calcium that is found in, or the protein, the components that are found in milk are very acidic. So they may have a lot of calcium, but when you're drinking milk, for example, what our bodies do to counteract that acidity is they leach calcium from the bones to make it not as acidic, because we don't like acidity. We're not omnivores or carnivores who have a lot more acidic thing build in their intestines. We don't like that. We like alkaline foods. So what happens is, to make it not so, they leach calcium from the bones, and it actually can cause more osteoporosis and lack of bone density. The vegetarians and the vegans that you may be concerning about are just people that aren't eating enough. You can easily find there's a lot of calcium in pineapples. There's calcium in non-dairy milks. There's iron and magnesium in a bunch of leafy greens like spinach, broccoli. More so than actually, there's more iron and magnesium in broccoli than there is in beef. Crazy, right? And there's calcium, I think, in molasses. I know.
Where do vegans and vegetarians get omega-3 fatty acids from?
You can
Which
get
I know that are usually fish are like the highest.
Yeah, you get them from a lot of nuts and seeds, including flax seeds, and then also they're a lot of times they're in the milks, and then also in the case of protein, no one ever has to worry about protein. Protein is literally in everything, and so as long as you're eating enough, you're getting more protein than is great. Also, people in general have more protein than they actually need. When people have too much protein, people are always like, oh, protein, which is good, but people have too much of it all the time. And when protein comes in the form of animal products, a lot of times they're complete proteins, meaning that they contain all the amino acids that we need to be healthy and such like that. However, when they're complete, the way we digest when we digest protein is we break down the amino acids. That way the cells can utilize them. when they're complete proteins, that uses more energy on our bodies. And when we consume protein from plants, they're already broken down, which just makes it much easier for your body to digest. And actually, just to throw out another fact, on average, vegetarians and vegans live 10 to 15 years longer and thrive.
But what about people who, like, you know, like my grandfather ate meat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was an old school guy. Didn't have any discrimination in his diet. Whatever my grandma put on the table, he'd eat. He lived to be like 90. You know, no conditions, nothing like that.
Mm-hmm. I would look at the portions he ate. I would look, and I would also say that even if he lived pretty healthily, I would still say that he would have lived, or I'm not sure if he's still alive. Is he still alive?
Yeah, going strong.
He would be even healthier on a vegetarian vegan diet.
Don't you think maybe it would shock his system?
No. I went vegan overnight and I felt 10 times better instantly. Now of course he is 90, right? But I've seen people go vegan and stuff in their 70s and stuff, and maybe they did it like over a month or something, but they felt great.
Did you feel peer pressure to become a vegan?
No. In fact, if anything, people who are uneducated and understandably so would actually peer pressure you to eat meat and stuff, despite how bad it is. Because another thing is meat.
But hang on, wait a sec. I want to make this point.
Mm-hmm.
Just to the viewers out there, right? Because we've got some people tuned in right now. I don't want anyone to get the impression that eating meat is going to kill you, because you can eat anything and you will one day die. But it's not like if you start eating steaks every single day that after a month you're going to kick the can.
Actually, you will.
Not in a month. Maybe in 25 years.
Oh.
If you eat
Now,
nothing but
what this
steak.
sounds like,
will...
Sam, is you're really kind of going after her.
I'm not going after anyone. I'm presenting
No. I
another
really
side
don't mind.
of
But the thing is that, like, I'm listening to this conversation. It sounds like a very aggravated conversation, and I don't want aggravation on my show.
Dude, I'm not aggravated, man.
But
I'm just a passionate, balanced eater. That's all it is, you know.
all right.
Tommy, I really don't mind. I have been looking for this opportunity. I will answer so many questions like I do not care. I really don't mind. I am ready for the challenge.
I want to ask you a question off topic. I know you've been talking about the subject that you're very passionate about. Now, I want to ask you another question. Are you excited about episode 7? And also, the other question, it's a part 2 question. Have you ever watched Trailer Park Boys, and are you a fan?
I have not seen that show. In episode 7?
Yes, Star Wars. Oh boy.
Okay. Everyone's gonna hate me now. No. Here's the thing. I know everyone loves Star Wars. I just have never been able to get into it, and I know that I really need to because of this upcoming film. So I'm gonna have to binge watch, and I've been telling myself to binge watch it because like my boyfriend is super loves Star Wars, and like I know I need to because it's a huge cultural thing, and I know the basic things, but like I haven't seen any of the films.
Now, if I'm gonna tell you to start with any episode, start with episode 4, because that's where everything starts off. And everything is now. Star Wars is told backwards.
No, I know that.
I think the best way to watch them is from when they were made, from the 70s to whatever, early 80s.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Now, here's the thing: if you come across DVDs from 2004, you will notice George Lucas has taken a gigantic dump on the series by removing certain things and adding in certain CGI turds. And people would say, "Oh, it's amazing, Tommy." Well, no. Han shot first, not Guido. You know, he didn't shoot first. Now, I know that you're not a dedicated Star Wars fan, and neither am I. But I've been watching so many Star Wars fan pics, and I've watched some of the Star Wars series, and it's like I would say to you, it's like if somebody came into your stuff and gutted out some of your original qualities and then put in some digital stuff into your stuff and then changed everything, the format of what it originally was, the puppeteers and the people that put their sweat, their hard work and sweat into something that was became such a sensation overnight and into the centuries. Mothers and kids know what Star Wars is, and fathers. And now, looking at it's 2015, it's going to be 2016 soon. People are now talking about Star Wars. They're talking about all sorts of interesting topics, and today everybody has different likes, and it's all about not just forcing something onto somebody. It's about letting them follow. And here's the thing: you don't have to feel like I want to say to you. You don't have to feel like you have to binge watch just to fit in with the crowd. Do what makes you
Oh,
happy.
no. I just feel like as someone who is a film director and very passionate about that as well, that I need to see them. As a film person, I need to see them. The few times that I've tried to, maybe I caught
Have
it at
you
the wrong moment or something, but I just got really bored. Don't
have
hate
you
me.
seen my have you seen my short film Oddball?
I have not.
It's on my YouTube channel, and it's when I was on MTV's Made, and it's a movie about bullying. It's called Oddball the movie, and it's on my
Mhm.
channel, and it's very. I will tell you that it's not a happy-go-lucky film, and I'm not going to tell you the ending. And just you can watch it and if you want to make a reaction video, you can.
Okay.
A lot of people have done reactions to this video. But
Mhm.
Tree, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on tonight. I have
Of
to end the show
course.
right now, but
Oh, okay.
go check out Tyrannosaurus Rex, youtube.com/Tyrannosaurus Rex Trina. Am I right? Did I
I
mess
can
that up?
spell it if you want.
Okay.
Please subscribe to me. I post content all the time on my channel. I actually just did a relaunch a couple weeks ago, so you should totally check it out. You become one of my gremlins, and the link is youtube.com/Tyrannosaurus Rex. That is TrianasaurusRex, like Saurus Rex. And yeah, I'm actually going to be posting a lot of videos next week, so that'll be exciting. And you should join the family of gremlins. Haha. And yeah, it'll be so really fun.
Go check her out because
Check
she's
me
awesome.
out.
She's funny, and also Mr. Rasmus is here. He has his own channel, youtube.com/Mr.
Yeah, here, I'll
Rasmus.
spell it out for them too. It's youtube.com/MRRAZMUSS. And you can be guaranteed that I rarely post any kind of videos. So if you want to be kind of in the loop sometimes and always on the edge of your seat expecting an upload, that's the channel to pick.
And
Yeah. Thank you so much for
thank you.
having me. It was
And
great.
Tree, I hope you could stay a little bit after. We could talk a little bit. Thank you so much for staying in for when you could stay in. And as always, I'm Tommy NC 2010. This is
Tommy,
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
where'd you get that suit from?
This?
No, I'm
Zoo?
asking you, Tommy.
Oh, Tommy. Sorry. I heard
Where'd you get the
me,
jacket?
and I thought me.
I've had this for a while, but let me finish this off,
Oh.
Sam. But you're watching the
Well,
Tommy Talk Show,
apologize.
and you're here on the Tommy NC 2010 channel. Go check out Tree. I'm Tommy NC 2010, and I'm keeping you on the inside. Fact. Live from Western North Carolina. We bid you adieu.
I
Mwah.
love
Kisses
that
to
so
you.
much. I'll just chill here.
And here we go.